First of all, hi and welcome everyone who is joining into our live stream right now. I can see there's already quite a few people jumping in to the Discord. I hope you can all hear and see us just fine. My name is Tina, and I'm the head of mods here at BDP. What I'm going to do today is I'm just going to moderate this live video AMA for you all and just explain to you what the rules are and how this whole thing is going to go down before our team members have the opportunity to introduce themselves. With me today, I have Peter. Maybe you can give us a quick hi.
Hey, everyone.
That's Peter. We have Jordan. Mark.
Hello, hello.
Kevin.
Hi, everybody.
And I see Gabe is joining us as we speak. I only recognize the logo. Gabe, are you ready here?
Yep.
There he is.
All right, so all of the team will have the opportunity to introduce themselves in a second. Just to start off, the AMA is supposed to last between like half an hour and 40 minutes. If we have a couple more interesting questions, then maybe we can go a bit longer. Let's see how it goes. The first part of the AMA will be community questions that we got from all of you on the different social media channels over the last couple of days and weeks. Some of them are just more general questions, and some of them are questions that we recently collected with our asking you all to contribute questions for the AMA. Those questions of you people that we're going to choose to be asked and answered in here are going to be rewarded with a 50 BDP bounty as promised, and we will get to the details of that after the AMA has finished. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, and I think it's best if you all just jump right in and introduce yourselves and tell everyone maybe just a little bit about what you do at BDP, what your roles are, and how all of these came to be. Maybe we start with you, Peter.
Sure. Hi, everybody. It's great to be here. I'm really excited to have everyone on this live stream with us and to have our whole team here. And we're all wearing our t-shirts, as you can see. We're very proud of our team and our brand. And just by way of a very quick intro, my background is as a corporate lawyer. I worked at a big New York law firm for over 5 years. I got into crypto in 2017. When I first got in, I didn't know anything. I didn't know how to work a Ethereum wallet. I just really didn't know anybody in the industry. But eventually, I was able to become an investor and an advisor, and that's how I got my start in crypto. And I never launched a project or anything before BDP. Um, Especially not in 2017, because I just thought the infrastructure wasn't built out. We didn't have all of the DeFi infrastructure that we have today. That makes a project like BDP possible.
I'll go next. Yeah, I want to echo some of the things that Peter said. I'm really excited to be here and to speak with the community, face to face. And we're looking forward to doing more of these going forward. So a little bit of background about me. I studied information science, systems and technology at Cornell University, graduating in 2008, pretty much before the information science craze came to the industry. Was part of the first graduating class for that major at that college. So I've been kind of a data nerd for my entire life, really. And came out of that and worked at a hedge fund for about a year and a half called Hunter Global. They were managing about $1.3 billion when I got there. And they were doing old-fashioned investing, I would call it, and got a sense for how those types of investors operated, and realized there was a lot of need for new technology and specifically new data. So after a successful run at that hedge fund, I made a connection with a email tool that we basically decided that they had valuable data that could be used by investors to make better investment decisions. And so for the past 9 or so years, that's been my goal, is to find new data that is useful for hedge funds and institutional investors to make better investment decisions. I've at this point, Amass has discovered over 16,000 data providers that are out there in the world. And our goal is to bring as many of those to market, not only in the investment management industry, but in every industry.
Cool. Guess I'll go next. I'm Mark Donovic. I'm one of the other co-founders. I'm actually currently in Seattle, Washington, while most of our team's out in New York, but we are doing a company retreat next week. So very excited about that. I get to meet some of our team members for the very first time. So yeah, my background, I went to Northeastern University in Boston, Massachusetts, graduated in 2012. I've studied finance and econometrics in school, also a data nerd. Actually met Jordan through my roommate in college. When I was in New York, I was working at a hedge fund or systematic hedge fund called QS Investors, which actually spun out of Deutsche Bank's quantitative strategies group. I was working mostly in research. That's kind of my first entry point really into finance. Did a summer analyst program at Nomura, which is a large Japanese bank. Frankly, didn't really like the big company culture, corporate culture. So took a nosedive into the startup world and never turned back. Jordan's been, I guess, my business partner for close to, 2013, 2014, too long. But it's been a joy to work with him. We're kind of pioneers in the alternative data space, and now we're going to move those same, mountains and apply it to DeFi. So really excited about it. That's it.
Nice, very nice. So I'm Gabe. You guys also probably see me around as Begtum in the chat. I'm the core developer for BDP. So I'm in charge of all the tech stuff. My background is I have a computer science degree from Columbia. I graduated from there back in 2013, and then I've been doing crypto stuff pretty much ever since. So I've kind of been all around. I've worked on exchanges. I've worked at various crypto startups. I've done bots and my own sort of stuff. I've worked in crypto investment fund, and then I got connected with Peter and the BDP guys like half a year ago, and I've been working on this ever since. Yeah, that's pretty much sort of my background.
Cool. Thanks, Gabe.
Awesome.
Hey.
Well, all right. So then,
Tina, you're skipping me altogether?
no, actually, Kevin, you get the special introduction. No, just a quick reminder to all of you to, keep it quick and short because we want to get to answer a lot of community questions. All right, Kevin, up you go.
I'll keep it extra brief. So I'm Kevin, guys. You guys know me as BB Dex in Telegram. I come from a background in corporate operations consulting. I've worked for some firms like GE, worked for Workday, consulted for Workday. And I've been in the crypto space since about 2017, where I worked with Peter on supporting some projects he had back then. Went back into corporate for a couple of years, but jumped into this project, basically 2 feet, head first, as soon as we realized what space DeFi was in and how quickly the infrastructure was growing. I also have a background in data and analytics, and basically combining these two passions for me in this project was a big green light. So I'm really excited to tackle the infrastructure and marketing challenges for BDP.
Awesome. Thank you all. So while we are super excited to have all of you watching, please also be aware that you can still post questions for the AMA. Just post them in the designated hashtag AMA channel. You can post as we go along all the time, and we still are going to choose some questions for the AMA. So feel free to use this one. All right, then let's jump right in. Here's our first community question, and it is to you, Peter. Question is, how did everything start? What was your idea behind BDP and why did you choose to tokenize data?
Yeah, great question. So first we had we kept a very close eye on the crypto market. And I saw the rise of DeFi. I saw the TVL going up, and I saw, in DeFi summer of last year, that you have all these food farms. You're providing liquidity to food coins like Yam. And I was thinking, well, DeFi is doing a great job of bringing liquidity to things, but it's bringing liquidity to, a food coin. What if we brought liquidity to something that was really valuable, like data? And I think it's a very powerful combination, big data plus DeFi, because it allows for liquidity and price discovery of something that was previously highly illiquid. And we had also validated our mission by selling data on Ocean Market, and that was very successful, and people really liked purchasing and staking to data sets on Ocean Market. So that was the genesis. And of course, the real ability to get this off the ground was because I knew Jordan and Mark, who are really true pioneers in alternative data. And I mean, I couldn't have done it without them, because of what they bring to the table. So it was kind of a no-brainer having all of those pieces together.
Awesome. Thank you, Peter. All right, so on to the next question then. And this one is for you, Jordan and Mark, and it's about Amass. So let's see about that. Question is, what is Amass
Sure.
and how does it relate to BDP? Why is data in the BDP marketplace valuable? Good question. And what's the idea behind making it accessible? Someone needs to mute, I guess. All right.
Sorry, I might have a little bit of background noise here, but I'm about to speak, so I'll jump in on this question. So, oh, go ahead.
All right, thank you, Jordan. All right, so the question is, why is data in the BDP marketplace valuable? Which is a question that the community has been asking a lot. And what is the idea behind making it accessible for the crypto space in particular, rather than the way you have been doing it with Amass so far? There you go.
Sure. So Amass Insights, a little background on us. We were founded in 2015. We've been pioneers in alternative data, which is a big trend in the asset management industry. Back when we started in the industry, it didn't even have a name. I didn't really know what to call it. I was calling it non-traditional data. But basically, what it means is anything outside of traditional financial market data that's been used. Things like Bloomberg and FactSet, stock prices. That's all traditional financial market data. Basically, anything outside of that is considered alternative data. And there's a lot of examples I can give, but I'll just give a few. Transactional data is a big trend. There's different fintech apps that give you services, and they're able to analyze the transactions that certain customers are making. And another example would be satellite data. So one example of that is you can kind of actually see how much oil is being stored in different countries around the world through satellite imagery. And I can go on from there, but feel free to ask more specific questions about alternative data. So what we realized is there's a big trend happening, and there was an explosion of data sources out there. And it was really hard for hedge funds to know where to find this data and what was valuable and how to assess that value. So that was our goal, or that is our goal. We work with hedge funds to discover new sources of data and to understand them and to bring them on board and to make money from them. And on the other end of the spectrum, we work with data providers as well to open up a new revenue stream for them. And we started off obviously with hedge funds in terms of data providers, but now we realized that there was other industries that were also very interested in utilizing this data, and the sales cycle for a hedge fund with data sets is quite long. It could be anywhere from, I would say, minimum of 6 months to 2-3 years, and we saw an opportunity with BDP to make that make that process a lot more seamless, a lot more efficient, using blockchain, using DeFi, and that's the reason that we brought our marketplace to BDP. Mark, you want to go on?
Yeah, I was just going to add to it. I think the investment community now is using these esoteric data products, that are, way vastly different than anything that you would find through Thomson Reuters or Bloomberg. And they're using it for two things. One, alpha generating insights, but also for risk mitigation purposes. And we were largely successful in deploying, these esoteric data sets. And we chose obviously to focus on more of the quantitative systematic manager in the beginning, obviously because they have a high velocity of money. But our core mission though has always been, democratizing data for the masses and not putting it on a pedestal. We weren't fulfilling that mission. We realized over time too that only a very select group of sophisticated investors had access to these valuable data sets. And, especially in this past year, as you all have seen, with GameStop and, people collaborating on, Reddit, putting a lot of the meme stuff aside, there's a lot of compelling analysis that these communities are, pulling together. Some of it even better than some of the analysis that we see on Wall Street. So our goal and intent is to get those same type of data sets that Amass is curating and bringing it to a large audience into this community. So that was one of the intents behind getting Amass involved with BDP.
And just to wrap that up, the data that's on BDP currently is the same, very similar, or it's the same data that hedge funds are currently using, which is the proof of value of its value. Hedge funds actually pay for the data that is actually on BDP.
That's pretty awesome, and I think one can really tell how involved you are with the whole data scene and how much knowledge you have there, even though it's really detailed knowledge, maybe for our community also to follow up on these things. So if you have more forward questions, feel free to ask them, and I'm sure as well Mark as well as Jordan will be around also later to answer some more questions if you have, just because it's such a vast topic. So thank you so much for that. Let's move on to the next question, since we need to speed up a little bit. But one more question about the general vision, and then we're going to get to, let's say, more concrete and detailed questions about the future of BDP and the project. But one more question that I find really interesting that we should still ask is, and it's for you, Gabe, and for you, Kevin, because it's about the platform itself. And the question is, setting out to build the largest commercial data platform in the crypto space is not an easy task. I mean, clearly, I agree with that. What would you say are the challenges you are facing, and what are your ideas for the future? What does it mean to have a build-first community? Kevin, you want to go first, maybe?
Yeah, let me start talking about it. So one of the biggest challenges that we face is going to be around, convincing people of the value of the blockchain in the data market space, right? That there's already existing data markets that operate without these. What we need to prove, in creating a two-sided market, which is something that we plan to tackle later in this AMA as well, is really we're trying to figure out how best to convince the people who are selling their data that putting it on our platform, putting it on our data market and availing themselves to dynamic price discovery, to people being able to stake on a particular data set is a brand new concept and has tremendous value to people who otherwise own these data sets that are siloed, that they have to go through these very complicated procedures in order to get someone to buy their data set. So I think that our first challenge really is what Jordan and Mark here described around overcoming the problem of bringing sellers of these data sets onto our platform. And we're working on that, not just through the partnerships that we secure because of Amass's reputation, but also the cross ecosystem partnerships that we're creating. Like we've connected Chainlink with some of our partners. We are planning to continue creating like this network within our community that kind of helps us gain reputation and build out our platform as one with not just reliability as we work to build out the technology underlying our platform, but also just being something that brings a lot of value to people selling their data. Gabe, I'll let you tackle build first because that's something that's very important to us as well.
Yeah, so I mean, just on like a more practical, or I mean more. I mean, all of that is definitely true. I guess in another sense, also, one of the big challenges just because we're a startup, is just, we're a small team. So, actually having the resources to get everything done that we need to get done. I know I've talked about this a little bit in the Telegram, but like actually being able to have like to have a good hiring process, to be able to find good people to actually do the things that we need to do. Like it's not just about having a bunch of money that you could, even if you have a bunch of money that you can throw at a problem, that doesn't necessarily mean you could immediately get the best blockchain developer, the best front-end guy, or any of that sort of stuff. So part of the challenge has been, figuring out the Ocean tech, getting it stood up in a way that's like scalable and actually works a little bit better than the Ocean one because of the way that we do the IDOs. We get sort of more surge at a time. So we actually had some problems around our infrastructure that we had to solve with getting too much influx at one point, which is always a good problem to have. We always are trying to focus on what it is that our customers are using and trying to keep that at like the forefront of our mind, right? Like make sure that we're always trying to improve the user's experience as a whole, and also like that we're always providing value. So that's like a major driving factor for us. But yeah, I mean, really, it's just sort of getting everything, like sort of like Kevin was saying, it's just a bunch of different things we got to do.
Awesome, thanks so much. So now let's jump into a couple of little more concrete questions. And I think this next one is good for you, Peter, and it's actually a question we've been getting a lot. So what's the reason behind releasing 3 different kind of data sets instead of just releasing one data set with the B alpha set that could include everything? Why did you make the decision? And will there be additional data tokens after B gamma?
Yeah, so good question. The idea behind our current setup is the distinction between single data sets versus data baskets, which is a bundle of data sets. So if you look at our data market, we've got single data sets that you can stake on, that you can trade, that you can consume. And if you look at our B alpha and B beta tokens, they consist of a basket of data sets. And the idea behind, the question is, well, why don't you just put every single data set into B alpha? I think the answer to that is you always want to achieve a balance between not having too many data sets and not too few in a data basket. If we stuck 100 data sets into B alpha, then someone who just wants to access a few of those data sets isn't really they have to buy everything at once, which doesn't really make sense. So it's always achieving a balance of not too many data sets and not too few in a specific bundle or a data basket. And I think we've set out from day one. We said our plan was to do B alpha, our plan was to do B beta and B gamma. and that's still our plan. And I think B Gamma is going to be a different product than what you've seen with B Alpha and B Beta.
Thanks so much, Peter. And since we are discussing what kind of data we're posting on the marketplace and on the website, maybe with the next question is a really good fit for that, because the question is whether you could give a bit more of a specific explanation of what kind of data this is. I think a lot of people in our community don't really know exactly what is this data, why is it valuable, and especially who uses it outside of the crypto space, and why would it be relevant to be used. So maybe Jordan and or Mark, could you maybe just give us a brief outline? I know you love the topic, so just really a brief outline of what this is and why it's valuable and who uses it. Thank you.
Yeah, I can talk about this all day, so I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. But ultimately, we want to incorporate the same type of data sets used today by a lot of people in the investment banking world, our hedge fund clients globally, across all the public markets. We want to incorporate those into BDP. And so we've segmented the types of data sets into 139 different data categories. And we came with some examples earlier, but consumer transactional data, which is derived from banking information, credit card, debit card transactions. Another use case was satellite imagery, and that can analyze crop yields, or even oil storage, clickstream web traffic data from the semantic web. You've probably seen a lot of text and sentiment analysis, which is a really good indicator for potential price movement or a good risk mitigation strategy if you're following certain tickers. So I think that's one side of the spectrum. The other side too, though, is because we want to educate both sides of the ecosystem, right? And I think the use cases that I gave just earlier was how do we get crypto people more involved with some of the data sets that are in the traditional financial markets, but also too, like, we want to incorporate crypto-centric data to educate a lot of these traditional funds. So you're going to see a healthy kind of hybrid combination of both being added, which is really exciting, marrying both worlds. That's it.
Awesome. That actually was very brief, considering how long you can talk about this issue, as I know from the past.
Thanks.
All right, let's move on to the next question, which actually also fits well with it and is a very specific question. Kevin, I think this one would be good for you. What are the next steps after B Beta? Will there be more staking incentives, IDOs, or any other new things to come?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we are focused on executing perfectly, as Peter said, is our near-term goals. So, around IDOs, yeah, we are expecting the cadence that we've built to continue and progress with 1 to 2 IDOs going out per week. In addition to that, once we've gotten now that we've gotten B Beta kind of out in final form, we are going to be working on BSC integration. I know gas fees have been a real issue for people on the data market to be able to stake. So we are getting, to solve the problem around gas fees, we are going to, again, build out B Gamma, which is a product that Peter mentioned. It is going to be something different from how B Alpha and B Beta were. We're also going to be bringing single-sided staking, which is something a lot of people have asked for. There's a lot of interest in this. And lastly, we're also going to figure out, the burning of transaction fees as a way to create deflationary supply. And Gabe, I don't know if you had any additional comments around BSC integration, if you want to mention what we're going to be doing there.
Yes, I mean, BSC is pretty much Ethereum for the most part. Like, it's pretty much a one-to-one clone, except for the way the consensus algorithm works. So most of the work is just sort of getting stuff set up on BSC. We use a lot of the Ocean tech right now, which includes the Ocean protocol contracts, which they have deployed on Ethereum. Currently, right now, those aren't like deployed on BSC. They supposedly had plans to do it, but they've been dragging their feet on it. Um, so that's part of it, is actually getting all the contracts and everything stood up on BSC. The other part of it is getting a bridge between Ethereum and BSC up and running. So people can, with ERC20 BDP, can go to BEP20 and vice versa really easily. And then the other thing there is that hopefully things that are listed on BSC generally get a priority in Binance listing. So we're hoping also that getting all of the BSC integrations up and working will maybe help our chances of getting listed on Binance.
Awesome. Also, I know that quite a lot of people in the community have been waiting for single asset staking, so that's pretty good news to hear from you guys that this is actually planned down the road. As we are still speaking about data, here's a question that has also come up quite a bit, and it's about the visualization of data. So, Jordan, it's a very abstract thing for many people to look at sets of data without them being visualized. What strategies are you planning, or do you have to help people understand this data, especially average user in the crypto space?
I've always considered data not just to be, spreadsheets. That's not data to me. Data is also analytics. It's also reports. People that write reports that are based upon underlying data is probably actually more valuable than the data set itself. So we are planning and actually have already started building visualizations that go along with the data sets that we've posted. We have a couple that we will be posting very soon, a couple of charts that illustrate the value of some of the data sets that we've posted on BDP very soon. And we're also working on gating that content. So obviously we're going to be posting some content that is to our community as a whole, but we're also planning on including some of these analytics and some of these reports behind a paywall that is the data token. So along with the data set itself, you will also be able to access a report, updated report, updated visualization once you redeem your data token. And that should be able to allow you to understand that data much quicker than if you were just given a big CSV file or big JSON file.
Awesome, thank you, Jordan. Just one quick follow-up question: do you know if there's also planned to do some videos of it, like on YouTube, of how to use the data? What is it going to look like? Something down that line?
Sure, we've already done one of those, so we do plan on doing more of them.
Awesome. I think most of you, or those of you who follow our Twitter, have seen that already. In the last tweet that we posted, we had like a nice data visualization, so go check that out if you all haven't seen it yet. All right, the next question, also a very frequently asked community question, and I think this is best for you, Gabe. The question is, what's up with OXB1? Did he sell his token? Did he not sell his token? Is he still working with the team on future projects? How often do you communicate? Just give us a quick heads up on that one.
So yes, he did sell some tokens. 0xB1 is a trader. He buys and sells stuff all the time. I know that is something that we were sort of leading into kind of heavy at the beginning as PR wise. That 0xB1 has a whole bunch of our tokens. Like just sort of being honest, if you get a whole bunch of tokens for free, it's kind of irrational to expect him not to sell any of them, especially with sort of a downward price movement, as the community knows. But 0xB1 likes money, like all of us. So I don't know exactly what it is that he's thinking, but in terms of team involvement or whatever, we're still in contact with him. We're still working on BGamma with 0xB1. And I'm not super concerned, honestly, that he sold some of his tokens. He still has some BDP, or like a significant amount of BDP. So to me, that sort of signifies that he still has, you know, belief in us and the team and whatever. So I mean, yes, he sold. Would I have preferred if he didn't sell anything at all? Yes, I mean, I think it would have been better for, you know, advertising and whatever. But I mean, just being realistic and being honest, it was kind of inevitable. I think it's not as big of a deal as everyone is really making it out to be. I don't know if Peter wants to add anything to that.
No, I think that's right. We're still in touch with him. We're on good terms with him, and he's still really excited to build B Gamma with us. So that's something to look forward to.
Awesome. All right. So the time is passing really quickly, a lot quicker than I thought it would, but the questions are really interesting. So if it's okay for you all, I think we would add another 2 or 3 questions maybe, and then see where we at, if that's all right for you all. Good. So we have one follow-up question already that came in through our AMA question list. And the question is, how do you differentiate between the B alpha and B beta data set? How can you explain to us what data goes into what data basket and why? Maybe this is, do you want to take that one, Peter?
Yeah, sure. So I think we wanted to make them distinctive data bundles, and we wanted to make both of them valuable in their own way. And I think and that's how we selected the data sets that would go into each. And keep in mind that these are data sets that, as long as it's not purely historical data, these are data sets that we're going to update over time. And we can also add to the alpha collection and the beta collection as well.
Just to add to that, the closing bell data set in the B beta bundle is pretty much a new product that is being tested by several of the pretty much the largest hedge funds in the world right now, and they obviously are doing, they're spending the time and effort because they think, you know, this has the potential to be very valuable. It's data that's I've never seen anywhere else. Nobody has a product like a Slack or Discord plugin that Closing Bell has, and I think that there's, you know, significant untapped value in that data set.
Well, thanks so much to both of you for answering that follow-up questions. The next questions we have is about partnerships. Is there anything new on the horizon? What are the most important partnerships we have so far, and what is planned in that department for the future? Kevin, maybe, or?
I'll let Mark take that one. Mark's our
Sure.
partnership guy.
Yeah, so you know, so we've obviously established some partnerships in the beginning, and actually, you know, because I haven't had a lot of background in the crypto space, to be honest with you, but everyone told me like partnerships are key in the beginning, and I, you know, after tracking a lot of, you know, different companies and crypto projects, they seem like they're announcing partnerships every day. But you know what I found is a lot of those don't really actually come to fruition. So we've been really, I guess, like methodical or just really like trying to establish good partnerships that will have a lot of longevity. So obviously Ocean Protocol, we, you know, forked their technology. They've been a great partner to us. Toma Chain, API 3, Finage, Glassnode, Closing Bell, Woo Trade, Xena Exchange, OpenDAO. So we've established some really good partnerships, and we've actually produced, you know, some really good results in terms of, you know, introducing them to specific types of data sets, you know, that they've been trying to find for an extended period of time. And just you know, collaborating with them on creating, you know, derivative products. So those have been fruitful. I think, you know, one thing that's we're, you know, also going to be focusing on is establishing partnerships with, you know, significant traditional financial market data providers that are just getting into the crypto space for the very first time. You know, a lot of institutions are, you know, just starting to adopt DeFi crypto arms within their business. So we also want to bring them into, you know, the ecosystem as well. So working on those, obviously, you know, when you're working with, you know, significant publicly traded companies, you know, that can take a while to get those partnerships inked, but we're really excited about, you know, the groups that we're working with.
So thank
That's
you
it.
so much for that one. So maybe if you all agree, maybe we should do let's say one question about the marketplace. So how about that one? From what it seems right now, the project is focused on nurturing the data providers. This is also something we've heard a lot over the social media platforms. When will the data consumers come into play, and who are they? Crypto users are relevant as data consumers or only for IDOs and mining? Who would like to take that one?
I can start that one off. So yeah, so this again goes back to what I was addressing around the two-sided marketplace we're trying to build, right? There's a chicken and an egg problem here where, you know, buyers don't come unless they're sellers, but sellers don't come unless they're buyers. And so we're tackling this problem the way that other, you know, successful organizations have, how Airbnb and Amazon kind of went about creating basically a pathway for one side of that market to show up, make it super easy. So again, what we're using is internal expertise to make it really easy for data partners to get onboarded, right? Make it really, really simple and easy for them to put their data on our marketplace such that, you know, even if they are starting small with sort of smaller samples than, you know, their full capacity of what they actually bring to the table, it makes it easy for someone on the buyer side to start seeing how easy it is to function within the marketplace. So that's what we're trying to do. But at the same time, we are focused on the other side too. Of course, we know crypto right now is still a little bit volatile. It's still a little bit, it's not as mature of a market as these typical data buyers are in. So it is right now for, you know, our crypto speculators and our DGen community to come together and, you know, help us in these IDOs, in, you know, to essentially to bring our name, float our name up to the top with high reputation, high value data sets that we are providing. And again, for everyone who's asking, you know, how are we different from Ocean, whose data marketplace we forked? I mean, you just need to look at the data sets on Ocean, right? I mean, the half of them are my trips walking around town. It's like, you know, GPS coordinates of somebody's walk around town. Ours are all curated data sets. They've all got meaning. They've got all have like commercial value to someone who's looking to generate alpha on these data sets. Whether they be hedge funds or, you know, as we go forward in the future, other data categories as well. So that's what we're trying to do to build out this two-sided marketplace.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Since we're actually really nearing the end time of our AMA, I have one last surprise question for all of you to answer. So if you could give our community 2 sentences of why you think BDP is awesome, what would you tell them? I'll give you just a second to think about it.
I can take this one first.
Go for it.
The BDP team is amazing to work with, and so period, I trust Peter's leadership in this space for me.
Thank you, Kevin.
For me, I think it's about like no red tape. I think listening to Mark and Jordan talk about the actual like legal complexities around data acquisition and how long the process takes, and just sort of Jordan has this graph. I think he's gonna post sometimes. It's an absurd chart of just, you know, it's a multi-year long process where everyone's just making contracts with everyone else, and everything is just like I don't know, like I like crypto just partially because, you know, everything's super fast and everything's 24 hours a day. So I'm like super into the idea that, you know, it's like currently this multi-year long process that's tailored to the individual, and like this is the first kind of marketplace that exists that really like lets you
go on and see a sort of catalog of data sets and be like, oh yeah, this one seems useful to me. And then you can buy it and use it like all in the same day without having to like, I don't even have to know who Jordan is. Like I don't have to have a contract with him. I can just like send someone some BDP and like download a data set. And like that's, as a crypto guy, like that's what I want. So like that's really what the real cool thing about this project is for me.
We'll consider that 2 run-on sentences. So for me, let me just think. I have 2 main thoughts. One being this team, I've been part of a lot of startups. This team is unique and extremely talented, and we are we basically have no chance to fail because of that. Second thought, to bring liquidity and efficiency to the data industry as a whole.
Cool. I guess I can go next. Obviously we're all very excited, at the thought of, data's the new oil, and it's growing at a very extremely rapid rate. Bringing it into, a DeFi kind of environment and being kind of the first people to do that with commercially viable data sets, I think is really compelling and exciting. Kind of echoing what everybody said, our team, I believe in everybody here that's speaking today. Even in our last team meeting, which we have team meetings almost every other day, I want to run through a brick wall. I was so excited about, all of the different things that are in our pipeline and how everybody has, kind of shares the same excitement. And I think that's really important because, there's times where I look at Telegram and, people are calling out price fluctuations and that our team members are fake and that we're going to be doing a rug pull. And I'm just like, my God, I wish they can really understand what's happening behind the scenes. Like we're having a ton of fun, we're kicking ass, and we're going to be making some big changes to the data landscape. So sorry, that was a run-on sentence, Tim.
Well, Mark, you actually said the 2 things I was going to talk about. I truly believe in our team as well. Everyone is super talented and hardworking. And I think just the size of the market and the scope of the market opportunity is tremendous. If you look at a company like Robinhood, they have no fees. So how do they make money? You look at Facebook, you don't pay money to access Facebook. So how are they worth, so many billions of dollars? It's all of these companies, all of these tech companies, like Google as well. They're all based on data. And data is, I think, moving away from a siloed approach to Web3, a more decentralized approach. And we are one of the companies that's most poised to capture that opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for these incredible last sentences or, thoughts that you gave us. Here's one more last thing for me. Actually, I'm also in it for the community. I know that you all have had not the easiest time with the price section and with the way things developed. But what I want to tell you is to, stick by us, stay with us, and be on board with us for creating the largest and most phenomenal and valuable data marketplace in the crypto space, and eventually, well, if we can, in all of the spaces. We will absolutely repeat this AMA, I guess, everyone, right?
We absolutely will. And I just want to take a second to thank both you, Tina. Thank you for the moderation. Thank you for your support in the community. Again, just for the wonderful support that you've given us. And I do want to tell everyone in the community, I do see the questions that you guys have posed. We will get around to touching all of these, either in Telegram, Discord, or a future AMA. So don't despair. We'll address all these open issues that we have. We're just out of time now. So.
Exactly. And those of you whose questions have already been chosen, I will get in touch with you later on for the 50 BDP bounty that we promised. So we are not forgetting about that. Don't worry. And with this, unfortunately, I already have to say goodbye for today, just because we've been almost an hour now, and some people might want to rewatch, and it's getting way too long for them to do that otherwise. But we will repeat the AMA, and please feel free to give feedback, continue your questions, and you can DM me, Ava, as well as Old BDP in this Discord at any point. We are your dedicated administrators in this space. Feel free to share the Discord link, and let's also populate our new awesome Discord server a bit in the next couple of days and weeks. And with that, I think that's a goodbye from me to all of you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
everyone.
Thanks,
Take
everybody.
care.